Welcome to a platform where we debate on the top stories of the NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, and other leagues with the best in the world of sports. You'll also get interviews with many athletes and media talents at several basketball events, including the WNBA and college basketball. My name is Rafique Louison, and this is Nothing But That Sports Talk. Welcome to another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Rafique Louison, Ryan Walker on hand. How you doing down there down in the LIRR?
Doing good, man. Doing a lot of work, man. A lot of work in the last couple of weeks, man. A lot of grinding.
Yeah, oh, that's right. I mean, come on. As you saw, I managed to get some flicks and some footage, interviews at the Women's Championship Classic where Iowa fall to Tennessee and UConn steamrolled. I mean, even though a week later it was kind of pretty much the opposite for those teams, Iowa managed to score a big win against Iowa State, and UConn suffered their first loss of the season against Notre Dame. Hannah Hadilo is just something else for Notre Dame. That's pretty much it. We're going on with the Champions Classic for the 14th part. The environment was crazy. It almost makes you think you were at a Liberty game in the WNBA Finals or regular season at the very least, with the way the crowd came together and all the WNBA media were in the locker room. So, yeah, if you watched it, at least the broadcast version of it, you probably get a sense of how it is. Women's college basketball, my guy.
Absolutely. Those are good environments. You know, that these beginning tournaments for the year for college basketball have been really good at all the different neutral and good sites. So it's always good for you when you're in the building to take care of business and see those athletes play. So that's definitely a good spectrum to be at. Listen, I know same thing. Everything's starting to brew in motion for us. You know, crunch time at a high school invitational tournament at Uniondale High School again for Jemani Jojo Wright, young man who passed away a few years ago in a fatal car accident. And we were doing interviews at the event, very good event. You see 5 a.m. Brotherhood. They had their opening weekend where we was down there for the weekend doing, announcing, and my guys are down there doing media work. Shout out to Keith from KLM, and of course Mike Walker for M Fidel Photography. His Northeast crew as well. He does work with Max Preps. Those guys were down there doing good media work. So that started up. Crunch Time Pro-Am will start up in a few weeks. Still doing good work with my man Russell Miller. Shout out to my man Prime for his takeover tournament. And we live stream and do work there, and live streaming games for Eagle Academy in the future for their home games. So that's pretty big. So it's a lot of work that's going on right now. Things are working out pretty well. And I got a couple other stuff even early in the year too that's going on. Arthur Morrison, a gentleman in the Hempstead neighborhood who helped out a lot of the community, passed away. So I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. So they've been doing a tournament to commemorate him. That would be on January 19th. March 22nd, I'm doing something with this kid called Harold, for who you follow him. 15-year-old young man started his own organization. He's helping people out. I forgot the actual conditions that the group of people that he's helping out for, but it accounts for everybody. So we'll have stuff too. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, man. It's just happy to be doing work and still keep my ear and nose around the middle school, the high school, and the pro-am game for all the stuff that I'm working right now. So everything is good. It's busy.
Yeah, everything's busy indeed. I mean, you gotta keep yourself active in the basketball world. Like, there's just a lot going on. I mean, I already told you when I was doing it. It's just crazy how women basketball starts to pick up. You got your upsets that you didn't think it was going to happen with what I just mentioned earlier in the show. And obviously for the men's side, Iowa will do the same thing against Iowa State in the men's, but it happens. It's college basketball. You have your upsets, and you have your upsets. Kansas lost another game as a number 1 seed. How about that?
Yeah, that stuff don't, me. I don't think that's the college basketball is a great thing. I mean, I love college basketball. Always love to watch it. To me, even though they've done things in the NBA to kind of make the season more incentive, like kind of like the cup we just seen and so on, that's still going on. Pardon me. And but in college, to me, the games mean more. The teams play harder all the way throughout the games, and it just the games are more significant. You know what I mean, in college basketball to me, especially since it's a 30-game season. Compared to the NBA 82. Yada 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 yada. Over the years, the college game has clearly changed. I'm saying um, freshmen are the ones that are, the top talents in the country, mostly, right? We see it all around with the game now for the men's game. Um, in the ladies' game, you have to stay those X amount of time before becoming a pro. So it's a different ball game. But the college game has changed so much. So you're not going to Kansas losing as a number one seed is
2 times.
is not a big deal.
And now they lose to Missouri.
It's not a big deal to me. You know why? Because Kansas is a prestigious program, has won national championships, done great things, kept a consistent team for umpteenth years, numerous Big 12 regular season titles and conference titles, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're just not the biggest dogs in the kennel no more. Everybody will go to Kansas, but like you said, in conference they go to Missouri. The kids go everywhere. The college game is different, and then the top freshmen come in. They might not stay the most. If you're a top freshman coming in, 2 years is the most you're gonna do, and you probably go pro. So saying most of the guys come out as freshmen and go pro. So the Kansas team, this is not Paul Pierce, Rafa Friend, Scott Powell. You know what I'm saying? This is not like the national championship team. And then remember, they had a core of juniors and seniors that stayed together. It's hard to get that. I say the same thing. Call a spade a fair of me. I always say the same thing when Duke is a top team. And guys call me, oh, Duke lost it. The game is different. You not your name is not beating teams anymore. You know what I'm saying? You got to play. There's teams in conference that just might have recruited a better team than you. And you see it, so somebody will look and say, oh man, Florida State beat Duke. Yo, that's an upset. No, it's not. They have a good team. They recruited well. They got good kids in the program. They got Leonard Hamilton, the coach who's been there for years, who provides defense. They got athletes. Anything could possible. I'm just making up a hyperbole. So Kansas, they're still going to be a top team in their conference. You know what I'm saying? They most likely, unless they just fall off the map, they'll still have opportunities to do things this year. It's going to happen. Everybody's going to share that number one slot. You could be number one for 3-4 days, lose, and go right back down.
You're telling me.
So I think that number one thing is so overrated. Let me tell you something. Duke Duke lucked out a little bit with it because at least after Coach K retiring, they been had John Shire as an assistant. And it was already said that John Shire was going to become the heir apparent. Now, he's a younger coach. He hasn't accomplished the team goal, or national championship because almost nobody probably can accomplish Coach K's goals, right? The teams that were the older blue bloods, like the Dukes, the North Carolinas, the Kansases, the UCLA's, the Arizonas. I don't want to include UConn because UConn is winning now in the program, but those teams that used to always be the guys to win and be that's not going to happen anymore. It's going to be spread out in college basketball. Didn't you see AJ Dynasty, the young kid? He declared for BYU.
Yeah, I was going to get to that. Yeah, I was going to get to that. We were done talking about the Kansas conversation, but
Everywhere.
I mean, obviously, you follow this kid. What can you tell me about? While we're on the subject, what can you tell me about this? About the type of production this guy's going to do for BYU?
He's going to be a good player. He's going to be a good player. He's athletic, center, tall, but can play like a guard. Can dribble it. Very capable of knocking down a mid-range shot. Can get better at the perimeter shot, but he still can knock that down. Can finish at the rim. Good feet work. Will defend. He's a good player.
Yeah.
2 years the most, but honestly, he go to BYU and he have a big time year. And honestly, no, he's out in 1 year because he's already talked about he has aspirations of becoming a pro. And another reason he went to the program was there because like his AAU coach is there up on staff, and the coach that's there that's been trained and produced pros that are in the NBA. So that's his goal. One and done. And no, he's a talent. He can play.
Yeah. It says here on the ESPN Scout report that the guy plays with intensity and force.
Yep.
His presence is like gravity sucking defense. He plays with continuous energy, attacks, dominating his mind. When the ball is in his hands, opposing defense load up on him, which opens the floor and creates opportunities for his teammates. And that's just to give a little snippet of what's said on the ESPN Plus article scouting report. Because what I read, if it's everything, if any indication of what I've been reading, this guy's going to put BYU back on the map.
Yep. And they got another, I forgot the kid's name. They have another big time recruit that's coming in with him too as well. The freshman, so that's what opens up the floodgates. So the game is different. You're not gonna. It's gonna be hard to see like the Floridas go back to back or the Dukes here. UConn's got a good thing going on in their special because Danny Hurley's down there, and they recruit the right guys for what they want to do. They have good morals with it, and UConn's kept a consistent thing for over the last umpteenth years as well too. But it's just very difficult to win in the college game. You see more. We're gonna see, like I said, look at the Dylan Harpers, look at the Ian Jacksons, the
Ian Jackson coming off the bench in North Carolina.
Right. Cooper. You see what Isaiah Evans just showed himself the other day as a big player. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of players all over in college that are really, really doing well right now. And will have opportunities, whether NBA overseas or in other plateaus of basketball in general.
That's just how it goes. I mean, we saw Boogie Fans showed out at the Garden, leading Arkansas to a narrow win against the number 14 ranked Michigan, literally after Tennessee steamrolled Miami University.
Yeah.
Classic. That was pretty interesting, entertaining. But like you said, anything can happen in college basketball.
Yes, sir.
And now we change gears real quick to some MLB news everything happens for a reason. Juan Soto is staying in New York, but he's going to Queens, not the Bronx. But don't worry, the Yankees got Max Fried, so it's not a total loss. We think about the way the Yankees free agency's gone this week, starting with the Juan Soto acquisition. Do you think he was overpaid? Especially since you did say something about him being a bad outfielder?
I mean, well, first of all, I mean, God bless him. God bless him and his family, his kids. You know, he got the most money, and he got the money. You know, and whatever the deal that he wanted with the 765 from the Mets for 15 years, whatever with this, I don't know how accurate it is with that whole sweet thing or whatever, but he got his money, he's got his deal. Um, you know what? I'm 50-50 on this type of stuff because you know if that's the way the game and the market is set up with baseball with no salary cap and different things, and you're gonna allow these guys to get this type of money, then who am I to say? You know what I'm saying, right? You know, if they're making that, then what is the owners making? But whatever, right? So 765 is a lot of money. Do I think he probably is overpaid and going to be overpaid for the contract? Yeah, but at this point, like you said, the Mets have a wealthy owner who is backing up his talk to make sure he gets guys there to make them try to compete. He sees how the fan base is. Um, we'll see how long they'll do that. But nevertheless, they signed Soto, and he took the deal with them. We gave him 5 million or offered him 5 million less than what, and one more extra year than whatever the deal would be. He elected to go there. Cool. The first day is kind of guys are angry about it, and it's kind of sad. But hey, at the end of the day, they're free agents. They can do what they want. He made a decision. It wasn't like he was ours and we owned him anyway. We didn't bring him up from AAA. We got him through a trade through San Diego. We knew there could be a possibility that he could go. We knew there's a possibility that he could stay. Um, he's a generational hitter. He's a generational talent. He's really an average to really below average fielder. Really is. He has a strong arm, but in regards to going to field for the ball and sometimes tracking it down the right way, makes a lot of mistakes. They'll see that, but then it's going to be covered up so much over the years, even though they'll see that with the Mets because they're going to have so much offensive talent that's probably going to override some of those things. And they'll probably have them, in certain games come out like in the seventh or eighth for a defensive reason or switch him to a DH or so on and so forth. But I think they really just paid $765 million for a guy that's going to be like a Giancarlo Stanton in a few years. Not necessarily what the same stats, but he's going to be a really expensive designated hitter because he's not a great fielder. He won't feel forever. Who knows if he wants to feel forever? He'll be 31 in 5 years. He'll be 31, and it's just the fact that the Mets have, the Mark Vientos, the Francisco Lindors. I don't know what they'll do with Bruce Batty if they'll put him in a trade. They Alonso's free, so who knows what they have going on with that? But still, he's supposed to be part of the nucleus. They don't have any starting pitching, which they need to get done immediately. But they clearly have an offense. They have their future set up for 15 years. I told my guys in this, if in the next 15 years, the Mets don't win the World Series at least 3 times, or at least minimum once, this is going to go down as a really bad deal. And so they got the talent. They did the right thing. They did. They backed it up. He's there. But boy, I tell you, he made us save $765 million. That's what I will say. And so I had a guy, one of my guys sent me something, a clip about one of the reasons why he chose to go to the Mets, and he's talking about the future and this and that. And I was like, that's a bunch of crap. Listen, he went to the Mets because they gave him more money. Okay, that was it. The decision was finally made a day before he actually came out and told the world, and or whatever the Clippers, and we found out with the world. And it's because there was $5 million more on the table. It had nothing to do with the because if he thought it was the future, he would have signed a long time ago with them, and he still could have got paid. He could have forced the table with them and asked them to give him 700 or whatever a long time ago. He made a decision. He took the money. It meant the Yankees are piece by piece adding regular players to the team. It probably worked out better anyway because the Yankees really needed to fill a lot more other voids because of what they're lacking on the team. You sign Soto for 760. You still got to fill in other pieces. You know you're set for a while because you'll have Judge and Soto and even at the end of his career, Giancarlo Stanton. But like I say, he chose to go to the Mets and Queens, and it's fine. We saved a lot of money. They just signed Max Fried. They're talking to a lot of other guys right now, so there's going to be a lot of other changes that are going to come to the team. We need to figure out what we're going to do at first base, third base, outfield position. We can add another starter, even though we picked up Fried. We can add a couple bullpen guys, and we have the money and the flexibility to make those things happen in the trade bait.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I could agree with you. And to add on to what you said, you pretty much saying that Juan Soto did the Yankees a favor by not giving them that bag and somewhere else because you get to fill in all the gaps that cost them in the World Series last year against the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's kind of like a gift and a curse. Of course, they wanted him to come back. Of course, we all wanted him to come back. He elected not to. With him electing not to and losing a talent like that, now you just have to try to find how the glass is half empty or half full, not empty. And you say, you know what? You didn't have to give him 760 and change. And now you can get another multiple of players to fill in your whole entire team. You know, Judge will be there for a while. He's under contract. Let's try to put something together good for him with the pitching staff so that the Yankees can have their opportunities to compete, which I know they will continue to do. And God bless the Mets. They got an incredible talent. Like I said, he's a generational hitter. He's a generational talent. He's a below average fielder. They'll see that early, or they'll see that in time. Strong arm, just can't do anything else really fielding. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised in 5, 6 years if the negotiations eventually stays, that eventually turn into a DH for them. And he'll be an expensive DH, just like us was stuck with ain't Stanton making that money, but Stanton is an expensive DH.
Yeah, you got an interesting point. Just like, what's this? Just like Shohei Ohtani was an expensive DH for Los Angeles Dodgers a year ago. He was the highest paid player in sports history. He won a World Series with the Dodgers after not winning anything in Anaheim. Let's just hope the same luck goes for New York Mets, who couldn't beat the Dodgers as well. And funny enough, we're talking about both New York teams and no luck against the Dodgers in postseason, but it's bound to happen. But that's the difference. At least now we picked up Juan Soto. The World Series expectation slightly improved, but let's see how it plays out.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now on to our next topic. The New York Knicks lost in the NBA Cup again. Only this time is Trae Young. Again, it's not the 2021 NBA playoffs, but who's the Trae Young Atlanta Hawks, man? That stings. What you think?
I don't know. I don't know what it is with Atlanta. A few years ago, we just lose to them at the wrong time. Like I even remember the year, the postseason year we played them, where Trae Young made that thing I just did very famous and did play well. The Knicks beat the Hawks 3 times in the regular season that year, and got obliterated in the playoffs. Then the next year comes, and I don't think the Knicks were that good, but we did better against them. We lost some games here and there was even. Then the next year comes, we beat up on them in the regular season, and we've been pretty much handling them ever since. Like the Knicks have resurged with Brunson, but we lost a game earlier to them in the season, or they shouldn't have. Well, we shouldn't have lost. They really had a lot of guys hurt, and Trey had a good game against us, and then they lost the game yesterday, where you're leading for most of that game against a team that no disrespect, and like I said, Atlanta has beat us the last time, but they're better than Atlanta. The Knicks are better than them, and you're in the Cup, and you have an opportunity to get to Vegas to get to the semis, and you let that one go. That was it's a long season. They'll bounce back. They'll be fine, but that was a disappointing loss.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson shot about like 4 for 15 for the field.
Good.
Carney Towns is in foul trouble. The bench wasn't doing much. The three-point shooting just wasn't there. After a strong start in the first half, Atlanta just ran him out the building on a 58-36 run in the second half.
Yeah, and I'm gonna keep it real. He'll never play like that again. He has to, but then for that game, Brunson, you got to play better than that. 4-15, not acceptable.
Especially going up against Ice Trey. Man, Ice Trey in New York, man. They already say it's equivalent to what Michael Jordan, Reggie Miller, LeBron, and Kobe Bryant did when they were the villains of MSG. And won anything, but Reggie Miller, he's at least played in the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
And the only other three guys just mentioned they won at least a handful of championships, or almost a handful of championships at minimum. Trae Young has only made one conference finals appearance. And every other year they just been a first-time exit or didn't make the playoffs at all. But somehow you just own the New York Knicks.
That's what I'm saying. They always find a way to get those wins when I guess.
But you know what? It's still early in the season. The Knicks, it's going to take a month or two just to get this team to as high as it could be. They're expected to compete for a championship. They're expected to get to the conference finals. The expectations there. It's just up to the Knicks to actually get past the second round this time, something that they haven't done since 2000.
Correct.
But that will only happen with a healthy roster and with the right opponents, because they're close on the Orlando Magic, but Orlando Magic, they have injuries on with Frank Wagner. But it's not going to be easy for the New York Knicks to turn around it. It'll only get easy if Mitchell Robinson comes back and Carl Towns moves to the 4th position.
Well, I think that might happen eventually.
Mm-hmm.
It should. As long as Mitchell can remain and stay healthy, that is like the biggest elephant in the room, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, biggest elephant in the room, indeed. All right, now we get some NFL talk as well. The Giants and Jets continue to stink.
They stink.
For the right reasons, as they are knocking on the door for the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. I'm talking about the New York Giants, only the number 1 pick at the moment. And it's like we went over the past few weeks. If the season ends today, the Giants will be the number 1 pick, and they would draft Shedeur Sanders, or they can go as low as number 2 and get Cam Ward. So, what do you think about that as an updated version?
Well,
the way they went out against the New Orleans Saints, man. I mean, I get it. They probably did that on purpose because they know they're going to get number 1 pick. But they should have at least won that game. And it just didn't do much better when they were in Miami losing in overtime. What are we going to do? That's how football goes.
I said it before we spoke. We're pretty critical. New Yorkers, we're tough, and throughout the New York teams, throughout the last 25 years, professional or not, um, it's so crazy because now I get that joke. Oh, who's the best team in New York? I just add it. They be like, oh, the Liberty. Like, yeah, whatever. But I get it. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, what I mean is that throughout the years with the Liberty, like just finally winning, and the conversation they used to go around before they actually won. So, but still with a good franchise, finally winning. Soccer there was a professional championship there. Um, the Yankees have had a consistent brand. They went to the World Series this year, didn't win. Mets went 2015, went and didn't win. We won '09. Um, the Knicks have a consistent good brand now. Nets have had times here and there. They're on a decline, but they still have a young, good core nucleus that they're trying to work out. Rangers have always kept a consistent brand, always in there. Islanders playing better hockey over the last few years, in the mix, in the hunt. And what I mean to say is that, and baseball, say Yankees, Mets, I think I covered all the professional sports. The football in New York has done us an injustice over the last 20 something years. The Jets and Giants have organization has failed the fan base.
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't worked. They need to work on things. Both teams are bad. They're really bad. There's no,
They really are.
and they've been bad. They've been more bad over the last few years than good. Like way more bad. To a point where you can't find the stem on why both teams are bad. You know what? I watched the Jets game, and I just watched them. I'm just looking at them like they're gonna lose this game, even when it seems like they're gonna lose this game. The Giants are bad. I looked at the schedule, so I'm so happy because honestly, they should lose all the games. They have who do they have? They have Baltimore this week. They're gonna lose by 30. They have after Baltimore, Atlanta. They're gonna lose to Atlanta. Then they have the Colts. They're gonna lose to the Colts, and they're gonna lose to the Eagles. And you get the number one pick, and you go for Cam Warren, or you call it a day.
Yeah. Or the New York Jets could somehow tank because they're going to stink up the joint big time, and Aaron Rodgers is not coming back. And we already went over Aaron Rodgers. He's not the guy that he used to be. So you going somewhere else and the Jets tanking is a good thing.
And he shut it. And he shut himself down. He's hurt, right?
I don't know. No comment on that.
Yeah. See, right.
But they're going up against another 3-10 team in the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they're not very much better either. And Trevor Lawrence, well, you tanked one season in 2020 during COVID year to get Trevor Lawrence, who was number one pick. You only had one playoff appearance, and then ever since then, nothing. So you had one playoff appearance, you won a playoff game against the Chargers, and ever since then, nothing but the Jags. Like you have to follow football teams in depth in order to know the ins and outs of why football has been bad throughout the years.
Well,
At least the Giants won 2 championships in 07, 2011, but the Jets are a whole different story.
Yeah. And even those championship Giants are a long time ago, such in the past. They just got to do better, both teams. Eventually, they just got to figure it out and do better.
Yeah, it's just tough. That's why I mean I know I haven't done this in a couple of weeks, but it's kind of tough to keep tabs of football because it's. I mean, I'm just gonna make the picks with the NFL and call it a day. Los Angeles Rams got a narrow win against San Francisco 49ers. The Rams are on the up and up. Prior to that, they got a big win against the Buffalo Bills, even though Josh Allen threw for 5 touchdowns. So it's anybody's race from here. I mean, before
And
we,
it's getting tough up there, the top three teams.
yeah, before we get to the picks, what what do you think about the way the Kansas City Chiefs have been winning football games?
I mean, what do you mean?
I mean, what I mean is they still continue to find ways to win football games, aside from the one loss they've had against the Buffalo Bills. But we don't care to see somehow manage to redeem himself and beat Buffalo Bills when it mattered the most. So, what do you think about the Kansas City Chiefs this season, as far as the way things come together? Like you about to fall asleep.
Oh yeah, man, I'm tired. I'm sitting here looking at this TV screen at the same time. But yeah, what's the picks? What we got?
Yeah. Well, first off, let's just update on the playoff standings as the Kansas City Chiefs still own the number one seed in the AFC. After that is the Buffalo Bills. So you got the Pittsburgh Steelers at number three. Well, it's a tiebreaker, but Buffalo owns a tiebreaker based on the Pittsburgh Steelers' strength of victory. You got the Houston Texans at number four, the Baltimore Ravens at number five, Los Angeles Chargers number six, and the Denver Broncos at number seven.
Mm-hmm.
AFC. Now we get to the NFC. The Detroit Lions are number one seed. After that, you get the Philadelphia Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, hence the reason why I was wearing their jersey before he got on the air. And then the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number four, the Minnesota Vikings number five, the Green Bay Packers number six, and the Washington Commanders at number seven. The Rams, they picked up a big win against the 49ers to stay in the hunt for that last playoff spot. So it's intense.
Yeah, it's coming down to the nitty gritty for the final team. It's only 4 more weeks of football last month, so the the playoff picture will be right there, and it looks good in the NFC. You know, you got Detroit, who's a really tough team, probably one of the best in football for what they're doing with Goff and how they run their offense and how they gotten so much better defensively. The Eagles are a dynamic team. We see what Saquon has done there with Jalen and those guys. So they're getting acclimated with the offense. The Green Bay Packers are really good. Jordan Love is really good. Minnesota is really good. You know, they have a really good defense, a really solid team, and how they take care of the football. So this can go many ways in the NFC. There's some really good teams there. Um, Seattle finds ways to get wins. They're in the hunt. So there's some good teams there. The AFC, of course, has good teams. You know, we know what Baltimore, Mr. Jackson can do. We see what the competitive teams there. You know what I feel about that already. Everything goes through Patrick Mahomes somehow, some way. That's the Excalibur everybody has to get past in the AFC, and it's coming down to the playoffs. Coming, 3-4 more games.
Yeah. Three or four games to go. As far as the worst teams go,
Yes.
we can get to it right now. The New York Giants are tied with the Las Vegas Raiders for the worst record in the NFL. And then,
Yes.
and then you have like a seven-way tie for the second worst record in the NFL, which features the Cleveland Browns, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the New York Jets, the Tennessee Titans, the New England Patriots, and the Carolina Panthers are all tied at 3 wins and 10 losses. So the race for the number one pick in the NFL draft is something else.
Yeah. Hopefully it can stay us, boy. We need it so bad. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, although it's not, although it's kind of hard to root for your team to lose. But then again, when you know it's
Well,
going to happen anyway, why not?
winning doesn't help them.
Yeah,
Well, look at the Saints game. Only they can find them. See, that's how you know it's meant for them to lose.
yeah. Now let's get to the picks for Sunday. Kansas City Chiefs on the road against the Cleveland Browns.
Chiefs,
Cincinnati Bengals on the road against the Tennessee Titans.
Cincinnati,
Washington Commanders on the road against the New Orleans Saints.
Washington,
Baltimore Ravens on the road against New York Giants. We already know what's going to happen.
that's a bloodbath. They're going to run the bill up.
Dallas Cowboys, who are 5-8, by the way, on the road against the Carolina Panthers.
Cowboys,
New York Jets on the road against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Miami Dolphins on the road against Houston Texans.
Wait, I don't even know what to pick for the Jacksonville one. Trevor Lawrence is not playing, right?
Nope.
That one is crazy. And neither is Aaron Rodgers. You know what? Because I need the Jets to win to stay away from the number one pick. But I need Jacksonville not to win either. Oh man, I don't know. I know it's not going to happen, but I'm going to pick a tie for that game.
Okay. Miami Dolphins on the road against Houston Texans.
Texans,
Indianapolis Colts on the road against the Denver Broncos.
Denver,
Okay, now we get to the most heat matchup. It features a New York team is actually playing well. The Buffalo Bills on the road against the Detroit Lions. Who do you think is going to win this intense matchup in the battle of elite teams in the NFL in a possible Super Bowl rematch? Excuse me, in a possible Super Bowl preview.
um, who's the home team?
The Detroit Lions. They're going to be played at Ford Field.
Yeah, they get one more.
Yeah, you got who you have winning.
Detroit.
Okay, I'll take that.
I'll stay with them because they're home.
Mm-hmm. There's the Battle of Pennsylvania state teams, the Philadelphia Eagles at home against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow, this is a really tough game to pick. Because both teams are really good, and both teams are playing really well right now. This is a really I go Pittsburgh barely. This is going to be a really game, and Pennsylvania is going to be good for Pennsylvania. Both teams are playing good football.
Yeah, they're playing good. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, that offense is a problem.
Sir, Pittsburgh's doing a good thing over there. Mike Tomlin's always leading the troops, and he's got Russell playing, and another consistent year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It'll be in Philadelphia, by the way.
Right?
New England Patriots on the road against the Arizona Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Los Angeles Chargers at home at SoFi Stadium against Tampa Bay Bucks.
Tampa Bay.
Seattle Seahawks at home against the Green Bay Packers.
Who's at home?
Mm-hmm.
Say Packers.
The Seattle Seahawks are at home.
Seahawks.
Yeah. After that, then we get to the Monday Night Football matchup. Chicago Bears on the road against the Minnesota Vikings.
I like Minnesota. Some people have them going to the Super Bowl, you know.
I ain't mad at that. I mean, Minnesota's been doing well. They're tied with the Philadelphia Eagles for the second seed in the NFC.
What?
So I ain't mad at that. Then you have the final game, the Atlanta Falcons on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh, come on. Atlanta.
You do realize you need that Raiders to win, so the Giants
You
can.
know what I was just gonna say? I was gonna say that too. I do need the Raiders to win, but they stink. Yeah, Raiders. All right, the Raiders. Come on, Raiders.
Raiders win, and the
Win,
Giants
Raiders.
rolled in Baltimore against the Baltimore Ravens. This is the
Please.
time when we need the Giants to continue losing so we can get the number one pick in the NFL draft. So Sanders for the Deion Sanders family can at least have a chance to resurrect the franchise.
Something's gotta give.
Something's got to happen. But look at the silver lining. Things could change for the better.
We all hope and pray so, right?
Yeah, we all hope and pray. 4 years ago, the New York Liberty were 2-18 in the COVID year in the Wubble, and look what happened 4 years later. They're WNBA champions. So hold tight, Giants fans and Jets fans. The turnaround in 4 years or more will happen. It's just a matter of getting the right piece.
Hopefully.
Now, with that, we'll conclude the episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Thank you for stopping by, Ryan Walker, to talk all things football, basketball, and baseball. Shout out to the Brotherhood for what you're doing with the basketball community.
Yeah.
And yeah. For Ryan Walker, I'm Rafique Louison. We'll see you next time.